Before I sign, Your Honor, I'd like to submit one piece of evidence. The courtroom went silent. My wife, Lenora, was already smiling, that victorious smirk she'd been wearing for the past 8 months since she filed for divorce. Her lawyer, a 400-an-hour shark named Desmond Pratt, had his hand extended, waiting for me to sign the final document that would end our 15-year marriage. The document that would give her the house, the cars, the savings, full custody of our 3 children, and $4,200 a month in child support for 18 years. Do the math, that's over $900,000. I was supposed to sign, I was supposed to accept defeat, I was supposed to walk out of this courthouse as a broken man who had lost everything. That's what they expected. That's not what happened. Evidence! Judge Rowan Castellan leaned forward, his gray eyebrows rising. Mr. Chandler, you've had months to submit evidence. This hearing is for final signatures only. I understand, Your Honor, but this evidence only came into my possession 72 hours ago, and I believe the court needs to see it before any documents are signed. Lenora's smirk flickered, just slightly, a crack in the mask. This is ridiculous, Desmond Pratt said smoothly. Your Honor, my client has been more than patient. Mr. Chandler agreed to these terms. He can't simply, I can, if the terms were based on fraud. That word landed like a bomb. Fraud. Lenora's face went from confident to confused, to something approaching fear in the span of 3 seconds. What are you talking about? She demanded. What fraud? I didn't answer her. Instead, I reached into my jacket and pulled out a manila envelope. Brown, unremarkable, the kind you can buy at any office supply store. Inside was the truth. I walked toward the judge's bench, my footsteps echoing in the silent courtroom. My own lawyer, a tired public defender named Hector Molina, who had advised me to just sign and move on with my life, was staring at me with his mouth open. I hadn't told him about this, hadn't told anyone. Some secrets you keep until exactly the right moment. Your Honor, this envelope contains DNA test results for all 3 of my children. Marcus, age 12, Jolene, age 9, and Wyatt, age 6. DNA tests. Judge Castellan took the envelope carefully. For what purpose? To establish paternity, Your Honor. The silence that followed was so complete I could hear Lenora's breath catch in her throat. Paternity? Her voice was barely a whisper now. What are you? I'm establishing that I am not the biological father of any of the 3 children you want me to pay child support for. The judge opened the envelope, read the first page, the second, the third. His face changed, hardened. He looked at Lenora with an expression I can only describe as controlled disgust. Then he said 3 words that destroyed her. Is this true? 36 hours earlier, I was sitting in a diner, off Interstate 10, staring at the same documents the judge was now reading. The coffee in front of me had gone cold. The eggs I'd ordered sat untouched. Nothing seemed real anymore. 3 children, 15 years of marriage, my entire adult life. A lie. The private investigator sitting across from me was named Clyde Barrow. Yes, like the outlaw, he'd heard all the jokes. He was 63 years old, with a face like weathered leather, and eyes that had seen too much. I'm sorry, he said. I know this isn't what you were hoping to find. I wasn't hoping to find anything. I was hoping you'd tell me I was paranoid, that the rumors were wrong, that my wife wasn't... I couldn't finish the sentence. The DNA tests are conclusive, Mr. Chandler. Marcus, Jolene, and Wyatt. None of them share your genetic markers. 0% probability of paternity across all 3. I looked at the documents again. Charts and graphs and scientific terminology that boiled down to one simple truth. The children I had raised, loved, sacrificed for were not mine. Do you know who the fathers are? Fathers, plural. Clyde pulled out another folder. Based on my investigation and cross-referencing genetic markers, Marcus appears to be the biological child of Victor Embry, a personal trainer your wife was seeing in 2012. Victor Embry, I remembered him. Lenora had insisted on getting in shape after we got married. Personal training sessions 3 times a week. I paid for every single one. Jolene's biological father is likely Raymond Costa. He was your wife's boss at the marketing firm where she worked from 2014 to 2016. Raymond Costa, the man who gave her a promotion, who took her on business trips, who I invited to our house for a Christmas party. And Wyatt? Clyde hesitated. This one's going to be difficult to hear. More difficult than finding out my 3 children aren't mine. Wyatt's biological father appears to be your brother, Dennis Chandler. The world stopped. Dennis, my younger brother, my best man at the wedding, the uncle who came to every birthday party, every Christmas, every family gathering, the man I had trusted more than anyone except Lenora herself. You're certain? The genetic markers don't lie, Mr. Chandler, I'm sorry. I sat there for a long time. The diner noise faded. The coffee grew colder. The eggs congealed on the plate. 15 years, 3 children, hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on a family that was never mine. And Lenora had the audacity to demand child support. What do I do now? I asked. Clyde leaned back in his chair. That's up to you. You could sign those divorce papers and pay child support for 18 years to children who aren't yours. Or you could walk into that courthouse with these documents and watch your wife's entire scheme fall apart. She'll say, I'm abandoning the kids. You'll say she committed paternity fraud, which she did. In this state, that's grounds for annulment of child support obligations and potential criminal charges. Criminal charges. Against the woman I had loved for 15 years, the mother of children who called me Dad. I need to think about this. You have 36 hours before that final hearing. Think fast. Let me tell you how I got here. My name is Crawford Chandler. I'm 47 years old. I work as a warehouse logistics supervisor at a distribution center in Bakersfield, California. I make $67,000 a year, which isn't rich but isn't poor either. Enough to support a family, enough to provide. At least, that's what I thought I was doing. I met Lenora Vance in 2008 at a friend's barbecue. She was 28, beautiful, with the kind of smile that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. I was 32, recently promoted, finally feeling like I had my life together. We dated for 6 months, got engaged, got married in 2009. Marcus was born in 2012. I remember holding him in the delivery room, tears streaming down my face, thinking I was the luckiest man alive. My son, my firstborn, the beginning of my legacy. Except he wasn't my son, he was Victor Embry's son, conceived during those personal training sessions I was paying for. Jolene came in 2015, my little girl. She had Lenora's dark hair and what I thought were my green eyes. Turns out green eyes came from Raymond Costa, the boss who was sleeping with my wife while I worked overtime to pay for her maternity leave. And Wyatt, born in 2018, the baby of the family. The one I thought would seal our bond forever. Dennis's son, my brother's son. Conceived God knows when, in God knows what bed, while I trusted both of them completely. I raised those children, changed their diapers, walked the floor at 3 a.m. when they were sick, helped with homework, coached Little League, paid for braces and summer camps and everything else. I loved them, still love them. That's the thing that makes this so complicated. They think I'm their father. They call me Dad. When Wyatt scraped his knee last summer, he came running to me. When Jolene had her first heartbreak at school, she cried on my shoulder. When Marcus needed advice about a girl he liked, he asked me. None of that was fake. None of that was a lie. My love for them was real. But Lenora's love for me? That was the lie. Had been a lie from the beginning. The divorce came out of nowhere. Or maybe it didn't, maybe I just wasn't paying attention. In retrospect, there were signs. The late nights at work that didn't match her schedule. The new clothes I hadn't paid for. The way she seemed more interested in her phone than in me. I thought we were just in a rough patch. 15 years of marriage, 3 kids, life gets complicated. I suggested counseling. She said she didn't need it. Then, in January of this year, she sat me down and told me she wanted out. I'm not happy, Crawford. I haven't been happy for years. We can work on it. I don't want to work on it. I want a divorce. She had a lawyer already. Desmond Pratt, recommended by her sister. Everything was prepared. The division of assets, the custody arrangement, the child support calculations. She had been planning this for months, maybe years, and she wanted everything. The house we had bought together in 2011, the retirement account I had been building since my 20s, the cars, the savings, the investments, and full custody of the 3 children, with me paying for $200 a month until the youngest turned 18. My lawyer, Hector, told me to fight it. She's asking for too much. We can negotiate this down, split custody, reduced support payments, something reasonable. But I didn't fight. I agreed to everything. People thought I was giving up. Thought I was too heartbroken to battle. Thought I was being noble or stupid or both. The truth was different. I agreed to everything because I knew something was wrong. Had known for years on some level. I didn't want to acknowledge. The way Marcus didn't look anything like me. The way Jolene had medical conditions that didn't run in my family. The way Wyatt had certain features that looked familiar but not in the right way. I started paying attention, started noticing things, started remembering moments that hadn't made sense at the time. And then I hired Clyde Barrow. I didn't tell Lenora, didn't tell anyone, just quietly, methodically began to investigate the woman I had married. It took 8 months. 8 months of gathering evidence while pretending to be the defeated husband who wouldn't fight back. 8 months of letting her think she had won. And now, standing in this courtroom, I was about to show her exactly how wrong she was. Judge Castellan read the DNA reports twice. His face remained neutral, professionally composed, but I could see something shifting behind his eyes. The same disgust I had felt in that diner, multiplied by whatever sense of justice had led him to this profession. Mrs. Chandler. His voice was ice. Do you have any response to these documents? Lenora was standing now, gripping the edge of the defendant's table. Her carefully maintained composure had shattered. She looked at me, at the judge, at her lawyer, searching for something to hold on to. Those tests are fake, she said. He's lying. He's trying to avoid his responsibilities. These tests were conducted by Geneva Diagnostics, a certified laboratory with AABB accreditation. Judge Castellan held up the documents. They show a 0% probability that Mr. Chandler is the biological father of any of the 3 minor children. That's impossible. He's their father. He's been their father for... Mrs. Chandler, I'm going to ask you once more. Is there any possibility that these results are accurate? The courtroom waited. I watched my wife, the woman I had loved for 15 years, the woman I had trusted with everything I had, the woman who had lied to me every single day of our marriage. Something broke in her expression. The fight went out of her eyes. I want to speak to my lawyer. Your lawyer is standing right beside you. Desmond Pratt looked like a man who had just realized he was standing in quicksand. The confident shark had turned into a deer in headlights. Your Honor, I need time to review these documents with my client. This is highly irregular. What's irregular, counselor, is your client seeking child support for 3 children who are apparently not fathered by the respondent. Judge Castellan set down the papers with a deliberate motion. Mrs. Chandler, I'm going to ask you directly. Are these children biologically related to Mr. Chandler? Silence. Mrs. Chandler. No. The word came out as a whisper. No, they're not. The courtroom erupted. Not loudly, there weren't many people there, but Hector gasped. Desmond Pratt cursed under his breath, and someone in the gallery made a sound of shock. I just stood there, watching Lenora finally tell the truth. They're not his, she continued, tears starting to flow. But he raised them. He's their father in every way that matters. They love him. He can't just abandon them because of what, Mrs. Chandler? Because you committed paternity fraud? Because you allowed another man, or apparently multiple men, to father children and then deceived your husband into believing they were his? I never meant for it to happen like this. How exactly did you mean for it to happen? She had no answer. Judge Castellan turned to me. His expression had shifted. Still professional, but with something underneath. Respect, maybe, or sympathy. Mr. Chandler, what relief are you seeking from this court? I had thought about this moment for months, rehearsed what I would say, planned exactly how I would destroy Lenora the way she had destroyed my trust. But standing there, looking at her broken expression, thinking about Marcus and Jolene and Wyatt, I found that the words I had prepared didn't want to come out. Your Honor, I loved those children. I still love them. What my wife did to me was unforgivable, but they're innocent. They didn't choose any of this. I understand, but legally, I'm requesting that the child support obligation be terminated. I am not their biological father. I should not be held financially responsible for children who were conceived through my wife's infidelity. Lenora made a sound, a sob or a gasp or something in between. However, I continued, I would like to request visitation rights. Those children know me as their father. Ripping me completely out of their lives would only hurt them more than they've already been hurt. Judge Castellan studied me for a long moment. That's a remarkably measured response, Mr. Chandler, given the circumstances. I'm not interested in revenge, Your Honor. I just want to stop being lied to, and I want those kids to know that someone in their life actually loves them for who they are, not for what they can provide. The judge nodded slowly. Very well. Given the evidence of paternity fraud, I am setting aside the proposed divorce settlement in its entirety. The matter will be rescheduled for a full hearing where division of assets and custody arrangements can be properly determined. He looked at Lenora. Mrs. Chandler, I strongly advise you to retain counsel experienced in cases involving fraud. The state may choose to pursue criminal charges, and this court will be referring this matter to the district attorney's office for review. Criminal charges, for lying about who fathered her children, for stealing 15 years of my life. Your Honor, please. Lenora's voice was desperate now. I can't go to prison. My children need me. You should have thought about that before you deceived the man who raised them. The gavel came down. I sat in my truck in the courthouse parking lot for an hour after it was over. Didn't move. Didn't turn on the engine. Just sat there, processing. I had won, if you could call it that. Lenora wasn't getting the house, wasn't getting my retirement, wasn't getting $900,000 in child support for children who weren't mine. But the children were still out there, still thinking I was their father, still waiting for someone to explain why their family had just exploded. My phone buzzed, a text from a number I didn't recognize. This is Marcus. Mom's crying and won't tell us what happened. Are you coming home? Home. The house I had been kicked out of 8 months ago. The house where 3 children who weren't mine were waiting for answers. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, I'll be there in an hour. We need to talk. The drive to the house felt like driving through a dream. Streets I knew by heart, landmarks I had passed 1,000 times, all of it strange and distant now. What was I going to tell them? How do you explain to a 12-year-old that you're not his father? How do you tell a 9-year-old girl that her existence was built on a lie? How do you look at a 6-year-old boy and say anything at all? I didn't have answers. I just had the truth. And the truth was going to hurt everyone. Lenora's car was in the driveway when I arrived. I parked on the street, took a deep breath, and walked to the door. Marcus opened it before I could knock. He was tall for 12, already taller than Lenora, with dark hair and features that I now recognized as belonging to Victor Embry, a stranger's face on a boy I had raised. Dad, he looked relieved. Mom's been in her room for an hour. She won't talk to us. Jolene is scared. What's going on? Let's go inside, buddy. I need to talk to all of you. The living room looked the same as it had when I lived there. Same couch, same family photos on the wall. Photos of birthday parties and vacations and holiday gatherings, evidence of a family. That had never been what it appeared. Jolene was on the couch, clutching a pillow. Wyatt was beside her, not understanding what was happening but picking up on the tension. Dad! Wyatt ran to me, wrapping his arms around my legs. Are you coming back? Mom said you're not coming back. I knelt down and hugged him. This little boy who looked like my brother, who had Dennis's chin and Dennis's eyes and none of my DNA. I loved him anyway. That was the terrible truth. I loved all three of them despite everything. We need to have a family meeting, I said. Can you guys sit on the couch with me? They arranged themselves around me. Marcus on one side, Jolene on the other, Wyatt on my lap. Like we had done 100 times before for movie nights and serious conversations and ordinary family moments. Is this about the divorce? Jolene asked. Her voice was small. Are you and Mom still getting divorced? Yes, honey, we're still getting divorced, but something else came up today, something important that I need to tell you. What is it? Marcus asked. He was trying to be brave, to be the mature one, but I could see the fear underneath. I looked at their faces. These children I had raised. These innocent kids who were about to have their world shattered. Do you know what DNA is? It's what makes us who we are, Marcus said. We learned about it in science class. It's like a code inside our bodies. That's right, and sometimes adults do tests to check DNA, to see how people are related to each other. Jolene's eyes widened. Did you do a test? I did, and I found out something that surprised me. Something that's going to be hard to understand. Just tell us, Dad. Marcus's voice was steady now. Whatever it is, just tell us. I took a breath. The DNA test showed that I'm not your biological father. Any of you. Your mom had relationships with other men, and they're your biological fathers. Silence. Then Wyatt, I don't understand. You're our dad. I am your dad. I raised you. I love you. Nothing is going to change that, but biologically we're not related. That doesn't make sense. Jolene was crying now. You're our dad. You've always been our dad. And I still am. Being a father isn't just about DNA, it's about being there, and I've been there for all of you, every day, for your whole lives. Marcus was quiet, processing. I could see the wheels turning in his head. So, Mom cheated on you, he finally said. Multiple times, with different men. Yes, and she let you think we were your kids. Yes, for 15 years. Yes. He stood up abruptly, walked to the window, stood there with his back to us, shoulders tight. Marcus, I called softly, I'm okay, I need a minute. Jolene crawled into my lap with Wyatt, both of them crying now. I held them close. These children, who weren't mine by blood, but were mine in every other way. Does this mean you don't love us anymore? Jolene whispered. No, sweetheart, I will always love you. Always. DNA doesn't change that. Then why did you tell us? Because you deserve the truth. Because lies are what got us into this mess. And I won't lie to you, not ever. From upstairs, I heard a door open, footsteps on the stairs. Lenora appeared in the doorway. She looked terrible. Mascara smeared, eyes swollen, the put-together facade completely gone. This was the real Lenora, the one hiding beneath the surface all these years. Crawford! Her voice was hoarse. What are you telling them? The truth, something you never managed to do. They're children. They don't need to know. They have a right to know who they are, who their real fathers are. They have a right to the truth. You're going to destroy them. No, Lenora, you destroyed them 15 years ago when you decided to build our family on lies. Marcus turned from the window. His face was hard now, older than his 12 years. Mom, Is it true, all of it? Lenora's mouth opened, closed, opened again. It's complicated, Marcus. There were circumstances you don't understand. Did you cheat on Dad, yes or no? Yes or no, Mom? Her shoulders slumped. Yes. With how many men? Marcus, please, how many? 3, over the years. But I never meant for 3 different men, 3 different fathers, and you let Dad think we were his kids the whole time. Lenora started crying again. I loved him. I loved all of you. I was just scared. Scared of what? Telling the truth? Marcus's voice cracked. Do you know how much Dad sacrificed for us? He worked double shifts. He missed his own father's funeral to be at my soccer game. He gave up everything for this family. I know. And it wasn't even his family. Marcus. I stood up, putting Jolene and Wyatt gently on the couch. That's enough. No, it's not enough. She lied to you for 15 years. She lied to all of us. I know, but yelling won't change. Any of it? I walked to my son, my not biological son, the boy I had raised from birth. I'm angry too, I said quietly. I have every right to be angry. But being angry at your mom isn't going to help anyone right now. What's done is done. All we can do is figure out how to move forward. How can you be so calm about this? I'm not calm. I'm devastated. But I learned something a long time ago. Anger is like fire. It burns hot and fast, but it burns the person holding it most of all. Marcus stared at me. Then, suddenly, he was hugging me. This tall, almost teenage boy, holding on to me like he was 6 years old again. I don't care about DNA, he said into my shoulder. You're my dad. You've always been my dad. And I always will be, no matter what. We stood there for a long moment. Then Jolene and Wyatt joined the hug, little arms wrapping around us. And Lenora stood in the doorway, watching, crying, seeing the family she had broken choosing to stay together without her. The divorce was finalized 2 months later. The terms were nothing like what Lenora had originally demanded. No house, which I didn't want anyway, too many memories. Split retirement, fair and legal. No child support, obviously. And shared custody. That was the part that surprised everyone, including me. I could have walked away. The children weren't mine. I had no legal obligation, no biological connection. Every lawyer in the country would have told me I was crazy to stay involved. But those kids didn't choose any of this. They didn't ask to be born from affairs. They didn't ask for a mother who lied and a father who wasn't really their father. They just wanted to be loved. So I stayed. Every other weekend, alternating holidays, 2 weeks every summer. The same custody arrangement I would have had if they were mine. Because they are mine. In every way that matters. Lenora was charged with paternity fraud. It's a misdemeanor in California, punishable by up to a year in county jail and fines. She took a plea deal. 6 months probation, community service, mandatory counseling. She lost her job when the story got around. Lost most of her friends, too. The women in her social circle didn't want to be associated with someone who had done what she did. Part of me felt satisfied by that. The petty, vindictive part that wanted her to suffer the way I had suffered. But mostly, I just felt tired. Tired of anger, tired of betrayal, tired of the whole ugly mess. I moved into a small apartment across town. 2 bedrooms, so the kids could have their own space when they visited. Nothing fancy, but clean and safe, and mine. The first night they stayed over, Marcus helped me assemble the bunk beds for Jolene and Wyatt. We worked in silence for a while, following the incomprehensible Swedish instructions, making mistakes and fixing them. "Dad?" he said finally. "Yeah?" I looked up Victor Embry, my biological father. I stopped tightening a bolt, and? He's a personal trainer in San Diego, has his own gym. He's married with 2 kids. His own kids? Yeah. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Does he know about me? I don't know. Your mom might have told him, or maybe not. Do you think I should contact him? I set down the wrench and looked at my son. That's up to you, Marcus. He's your biological father. You have a right to know him if you want to, but he's also a stranger who slept with your mom while she was married to me. That's complicated. Everything's complicated now. Yeah, it is. Do you think he'd want to know me? I thought about Victor Embry, a man who had an affair with a married woman, and either didn't know or didn't care that he had fathered a child. I think, I said carefully, that some men are fathers, and some men are just biology. I can't tell you which one Victor Embry is, but I can tell you that I'll be here no matter what. If you reach out and it goes well, great. If it doesn't, I'm still your dad. Marcus nodded slowly. I don't think I'm ready yet. Maybe someday, but not yet. That's okay. There's no timeline on this stuff. We went back to assembling the bunk beds. The instructions were still incomprehensible. We made more mistakes, but we finished eventually. Together. 2 years have passed since that day in the courthouse. I'm 49 now, still working at the distribution center, though I got a promotion last year. Still living in my 2-bedroom apartment, though I've made it more of a home. The kids are doing okay. Not great, not terrible. Okay. Marcus is 14, struggling through puberty and high school like every other teenager. He decided not to contact Victor Embry, said he might someday, but not now. I told him I'd support whatever he chose. Jolene is 11, starting middle school this fall. She's the one who had the hardest time with everything. She went through a phase where she blamed herself, thought she was the reason the marriage fell apart. Therapy helped. Time helped more. Wyatt is 8, young enough that the divorce didn't shatter him the way it might have if he were older. He still calls me Dad without hesitation. Still runs to me when he's hurt or scared. Dennis, my brother, moved out of state after everything came out. Couldn't face me, couldn't face the family. I heard he's in Portland now, working at some tech company. I haven't spoken to him since I found out about Wyatt. Don't plan to. Some betrayals are too deep to forgive. Lenora got remarried last spring. A guy she met at court-ordered counseling, ironically. A recovering addict with his own history of bad decisions. I don't know if they're happy. I don't really care. What I care about is the kids. Making sure they know they're loved. Making sure they grow up understanding that family isn't about blood, it's about showing up. Last month, on Father's Day, Marcus gave me a card he had made himself. Handwritten, not store-bought. On the front was a drawing of our family, stick figures with labels. Dad, Marcus, Jolene, Wyatt. Inside, he had written, "Thank you for choosing to be our dad when you didn't have to be. Thank you for staying when you had every reason to leave. Thank you for loving us even when the truth came out. You're not our father by blood, but you're our father by everything that actually matters. We love you. Happy Father's Day." I cried for 20 minutes after reading that. Not sad tears, not angry tears. Just the kind of tears that come when you realize that all the pain was worth it. That what you lost was nothing compared to what you kept. Lenora tried to take everything from me. The house, the money, my dignity, my identity as a father. In the end, she took nothing that mattered. Because what mattered was sitting across the breakfast table from me right now, arguing about who got the last waffle. What mattered was walking through the door after work to kids who yelled, "Dad's home." What mattered was being chosen, not by biology, not by law, by love. If you're watching this and you're going through something similar, I want you to know a few things. First, the truth matters, even when it hurts, even when it destroys what you thought you had. Living a lie is worse than facing the pain of reality. Second, being a father or a mother isn't about DNA, it's about presence, it's about sacrifice. It's about choosing to love someone even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Third, you will survive this. Whatever this is, the worst day of your life is still just a day. The sun will rise tomorrow, and the day after that, and eventually the pain fades enough that you can breathe again. Lenora called me a fool for not fighting the divorce. But I was fighting, just not the way she expected. I was fighting for the truth, for justice, for my own self-respect. And I was fighting for 3 kids who needed at least one parent who wouldn't lie to them. I won that fight, not in the courthouse, although that helped. I won it in the years after, in the slow, painful work of rebuilding trust, in the quiet moments with kids who chose to love me back. That's the real victory. Not the money I didn't have to pay, not the house I didn't lose, not even the satisfaction of watching Lenora's scheme collapse. The real victory is Marcus's card on my refrigerator, Jolene's hug when she comes through the door, Wyatt's voice calling "Dad" across the soccer field. The real victory is this family, broken and rebuilt, imperfect but real. Mine. I have to wrap this up. It's almost time to pick up the kids from school. But before I go, I want to say one more thing. To anyone who's been lied to, who's had their trust betrayed, who's discovered that the life they thought they were living was built on someone else's deception, you're not a fool for believing. You're not stupid for trusting. You're just human. And humans are supposed to trust the people they love. The person who lied is the one who should be ashamed, not you. And you get to decide what happens next. You get to choose whether the betrayal defines you or whether you define yourself. I chose to be a father. Not because I had to, because I wanted to. That choice saved me. Maybe there's a choice waiting for you too, like this video if you stayed until the end. Subscribe if you want more stories about people who refused to be defeated. Share it with someone who needs to hear that it's possible to survive betrayal, that it's possible to rebuild. And if you're going through something right now, something hard, something that feels like it might destroy you, remember, the worst day of your life is still just a day. Tomorrow is coming, and you get to choose who you'll be when it arrives. I'll see you in the next one.